try to do this dot technique for a different flower type. Let's do instead of doing cosmos, let's do this for a sunflower, see what happens. So I'm just starting with my warm yellow, which is New Gamboge in my case. And then I'm going to do the same thing we did before, which was, or on the cosmos, which was pull the paint out after we put the dot. And then I've got my Milky Strength ready to go there. So in this case I want to sort of adjust the end a little more than I did before on the cosmos. So I'm going to pull that out and overlap. Maybe like that, and then this time I'm going to use a warm red instead of a cool red. Actually, I think I might use a combination of my quinacridone coral and my Puro red. And then I'll just touch in a little red at there. Maybe not too much, it does kind of take over. Okay, let's pull that paint out, clean my brush. Shouldn't do too much red work while I'm working with the yellow because it does get dirty really easy. So let me work fairly quickly. We're going to save the centers like we did before to the end. So just always think about how the petals sort of radiate around the center. Go ahead and take that right off the page. My dot kind of dried out, so maybe I shouldn't put all the dots out right away. And I'm leaving out some whites to let the sun in. Maybe here I'll make the petals longer. Try not to make them too soldiery and all the same. I work fairly quickly. Let's leave a gap like we see in the photograph. Makes it more interesting. And maybe cluster some. And leave another gap. Remember, we want to make these longer down here so we get a sense of dimension. And I say let's leave another gap over here. Pull those out. Okay, let's get some of this red while it's wet and let it swim around. Try not to force it too much, just so our colors aren't lonesome. I kind of want to spread it where I might want to have petal separations. And maybe just kind of hinted it out at the ends. Go back to my yellow. Just in some places have petal definition at the end. Okay, then again we want to get different dimensions of the flowers, so we'll go back to the yellow, maybe make a dot, couple of dots, but in a half circle this time instead of a full circle. And let's pull those out. Go ahead and connect them. So on this side the petals will be short, and at the bottom and the top they'll be quite long. So we'll pull those out. Maybe pull some across the middle. Summarize some petals so they're not all the same, and then on the side they'll be a lot shorter. So let's pull these out a little bit. Add some of our red just so it's not homogeneous color. Go back in with some stronger yellow. So you want the warm red and the warm yellow to keep the oranges kind of vibrant. So while this is still a little bit wet, I'm going to sort of put some contrasting color up against that so we can start to build. So I'm using ultramarine blue and the Pyrrole red, and just let it swim out a little bit into there before I go too far. And do a side stroke in the middle. Put some yellow in there too. Strong yellow, especially in the center. And just let it swim out a little bit. Okay, and do the same thing here. Not everywhere, just kind of dot it and let it swim out. So I'm using ultramarine blue and Pyrrole red for the dark color. And in this case, we'll dot it out. Leave a white edge so it, and do a little bit of a side stroke there. Add some yellow. Add some dark. Okay, let's do the same thing down here. Let's get this other little guy. So we put our dots of strong yellow, and let's have him going back this way. Maybe have a couple of dots on that side. Okay, then we'll pull the paint out almost in a C shape. Not so long on the front and in the back. Pull the dots out, and then while it's still wet, let's get some of our dark, pretty strong buttery paint and just dot it here and there. Leave some white edges. Try not to touch too much of the yellow with the dark, but we do want it to swim out and create an edge there. Probably should have gone in a little sooner on this first flower. Okay, now we need to create a green, so we'll use the same yellow and the same blue, and let's do the same thing, create some dots back here. And then pull them out a little bit. Put some dots back here. Again, you don't have to slavishly follow the photo. So I'll put some dots and then I'll pull that paint out. Maybe I want to do a little more yellow sometimes and a little more green sometimes. Just think of that comma shape. Okay, and then we need some stems. So let's make this stem come down this way. I'll put some blue on one side of it. Try to do it with one stroke. It's okay if it doesn't quite match up. And then we'll do, remember the stem comes out of the center, we'll make this one a little fatter by pushing a little harder on our brush. So we do some leaves. Let's do a little stem. To sort of start the leaf. And then we'll do a kind of a side stroke. I like how they sort of look like hearts. Let's go right over the top of that stem, and they're really big. Sunflower leaves are big. Let's get some blue and create some dimension. So part of that showing there. Probably ruining it with the leaves. Let's put this one just a side stroke leaf. Put a little dark right there. Dot. And then if I paint over the pounding, it sort of goes into the divots. Let's add more blue. Pretty strong. Add a little yellow. Put it in the center. I'm just going to put a little path of water out here. And find some blue and just touch it in there a little bit. It's not a completely dark white background. Make it go kind of at a diagonal maybe. The blue, like a little vignette. do a little riggering, get some of that coral, mix with the yellow, maybe do just a little bit of calligraphing to find some shapes. You can do it with another brush too, but yellow is hard for our eyes to see. So kind of have to make it more orange sometimes. Make it a little almost no background painting. Back to this brush, I'm just gonna summarize that a little bit and have a little softness on the leaves. Just gonna call out that gap with some blue to help define my flower petals a little bit, and maybe even put a bee in there, just a dot and a dot and a comma. Get some of my yellow. Actually, let's use the big brush still. Pull that up a little bit. Get some of the bluey color. Hint at some wings and antenna and legs as he's coming in for the landing. There, there's a little bee. It's a big bee. Some bees get pretty big, obviously. I like to put these little dots, you know, that it's dried off a little bit. Right there. So the one that's closer, I've made this more red. The further away, they're a little more bluer in the dark. Okay, there's a little sunflower painting. I'll go ahead and sign it. This time I'll use an orangey color. Start with the yellow. Add a little of the coral, just so it's a pretty orange. And I'll sign it down here at the bottom empty space. Keeping it really small, quick. Dab it back. There we go. Cute little paintings, floral paintings. So we have a little cosmos and a little sunflower painting.